My name is Ryan Remien, and I'm the STEM teacher at Red Hawk Ridge Elementary. I've been teaching STEM the last 2 years. This is my 11th year in the district. So it's a philosophy used by Google for their engineers. They call it the Google 20% day or 20% rule. And basically the idea is that engineers get 20% of their time, or one of their work days, to explore something on their own. So the Google engineers might look at something they want to create, or they might look at a problem they have with one of their apps or one of their programs and try to work around or try to fix that. And the neat thing about this is that's where a lot of their really innovative and what we find to be really cool pieces have come from, like Google Maps, Google Earth, Google Glass, the things that are kind of those buzz things, the things that we like to use as educators or excited to use as educators, kind of come out of that 20%. And so the idea of transferring it down here is understanding that the most powerful and most meaningful learning the students are going to have is going to be the learning they choose. And so what I'm hoping to do is if I can front load them with enough tools and enough content capacity that they can then create something totally unique that I wouldn't have even thought of, that can really show me in a formative way and an informative way that they're truly internalizing all of this instruction, and they're showing they have some actual skills in STEM that they can apply. On Monday, we always kind of start out with building that background knowledge and really trying to activate the students' thinking, try to connect their thinking to previous learning or something they're doing in class. And more important, to something that's culturally relevant. So this year it's Nature's Fury, which is good in the sense that we've experienced a lot of really wild weather so far this year. I start on Monday trying to connect to something that's going on. And then as engineers, where we think about, okay, I'm going to use all of my skills in STEM, and I'm going to use my creativity. How could I fix something that already exists or create something new that can help me with a particular problem that I notice? And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they really kind of start to get into that engineering design process where they've already brainstormed their ideas and they've selected a solution. But now they're going to build something and they're going to evaluate whether or not it's working. Is there something they can do to improve it? Do they need to scrap it and go back to the drawing board? And it's kind of that nice spiral that goes again and again and again until eventually they get to that point where they can really share out their learning and use that claims and evidence to say, I claim that this can solve this particular problem. Here's my evidence that I've collected over the course of this week. Well, the students really have the freedom to create any type of project they want. I've had kids create schematic designs. I've had kids create robots. I've had kids program robots to be able to navigate through a weather-ravaged area. I've had students that have programmed on websites. I've had students do some research about tornadoes or about volcanoes and then tried to recreate the weather phenomena. I've had some students that did some radio dramas using podcasts. So they pretend they were weathermen and pretended a storm was coming through town and they were the meteorologist giving out information. It's flexibly grouped. So I have some kids that work alone. I have some kids that work with a partner. I've had groups of 10 or 11 kids work on something. And I've even had students that might change through the course of the class. They might start out alone and then jump into a group. But I really want to leave it up to them to how do they work best as engineers? How do they work best as scientists? Because as adults, we have our different learning styles, and depending on a project, we might change how we're going to work together. So I want to give students that same access, that same flexibility for how they're going to tackle a project. We have designated time where the kids can come to work on programming their NXT robots. But these kids are giving up their lunch, and they give up more than lunch. They ask their teacher, and they're lobbying their teacher, can I give up portions of my day if I get my work done quick enough? Can I spend extra time here? And that's really exciting for me because that's kind of planting the seeds for those kids, not just to have success with programming here and now, but that's planting the seed for them. Maybe they're going to be an engineer when they grow up. Maybe they're going to be a computer programmer when they grow up. Maybe they're going to do something around Nature's Fury and maybe work in the health sciences or emergency responder. It's really kind of planting them a seed for what's going to give them success once they leave Grandview, which is our Fury.
Mr. Remien, is it up here?
Yeah, it's going to be the top one in the middle.
This one?
Yeah. And I think we had it on the underside here.
We're just going out to recess. Actually.
We are?
I'm not going to go to recess. I'm not either.
Bye.
Recess is lame. Oh, bye, Alex. Break that out. It's okay. We're going to scoop the items in. Come on. Yes! We did it!
I think the best thing is just really trusting in your students. And the students are more capable than we think they are. I was apprehensive when I started because I thought, kids will just gravitate to one thing, or kids will be asking, what do I do, how do I do this? And that really hasn't been the case. Kids generally know their own strengths, and thankfully kids have a lot of confidence in their own abilities. Even if their ability isn't great when they start off, they have a lot of confidence, and they try a lot of things that I wouldn't think to try. And there are students in here that have passed me up in terms of coding or robotics or some of the other pieces that we've learned in science and technology. They're already past me, which is really exciting because then I can start to explore for them or with them to find ways to push their learning. But kids are hungry to challenge themselves, and they're hungry to do that self-competing where they set a goal for themselves and they try to pass it up and see what else they can do. Like for the robotics unit, we're using Lego WeDo and the Simple Machines and the NXT, and we only have 4 of each kit. And obviously we have classes of anywhere from 24 to 30 students. And so that is a challenge right there. But one of the challenges I press upon the students is that you're often working with limited resources. So it's an opportunity for them to think interdependently, an offer for them to think flexibly, to work collaboratively, which is nice because these are part of Common Core standards and speaking and listening too. So it's kind of allowing them, that access and that flexibility to work together and to kind of understand that dynamic as an engineer, is that you don't always have everything you want. You don't always have unlimited resources. You don't have unlimited money. And part of the challenge as an engineer is working with what you have.